I'm Jeff Philbin here every day with ways to make your dinner more delicious than ever. Today, a top chef shares secrets to cooking sous vide, what it means, and why it's the best way to cook this rack of lamb, plus some sides that go great however you make it. Joining me in the Dinner Disc kitchen is John Lister, a friend of the show and the executive chef of Ava in Tampa. My friend, it is so good to have you back here, man. So good to have you here. Because every visit from you is really an educational piece. You know, we've talked truffles before, we've done sustainable seafood, but today we're talking a sous vide because you're sharing a recipe for sous vide rack of lamb. So I gotta ask you right off the bat though, sous vide. It sounds like it's just a chef's only science project way of making dinner.
No, it's actually quite simple, and it's very forgiving. It's a very easy way to cook. You're basically sous vide, which means under vacuum.
Okay.
Okay. So what you're doing is you're cooking it in a controlled atmosphere. Mm-hmm. So let's say like today we're cooking this. I'm going to cook this today at 130 degrees.
Yeah.
When I set that machine to 130 degrees and I place this lamb in there, it can sit in there for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. It's never going to exceed 130 degrees. What
does the machine do? What does the sous vide actually do? Okay, what's happening with this immersion circulator?
So what it does is it has a very, very precise thermometer in it, and it brings the water temperature, or sometimes you can use oil if you're going to cook directly into it. It circulates it, keeps it moving, so it stays at the exact temperature.
So it's very forgiving. So it's really putting it in, keeping it there, and knowing you don't have the opportunity to burn it.
You can't overcook it. You know, if you leave something there for a long period of time,
sure, the proteins will start to break down on that one, absolutely.
But the best thing about it is that it cooks it edge to edge. So you don't get, you know, when you're cooking a steak, all of a sudden you've got a beautiful medium rare, but the rest of it's overcooked. You're not going to get that.
You're not going to get that. And that's why, like, when you're working off of, like, your grill or you're working off your pan, you got to do that flip. You got to get the other side to get it. Here, you're really cooking from the inside out almost.
Absolutely.
All right.
And I like it, too, because it's convenience. If you were to go to work, you could actually place this in there before you went to work. When you come home, it's ready to go. Throw in a pan, sear it.
And that's it. And you're ready to go. And they're approachable. I mean, like, you know, you've got them for the restaurant. And so you've got restaurant grade stuff, high quality stuff, but I mean, you could find these
They make so many of these nowadays for the home use, and a lot of them come with apps that give you simple instructions, and people can share recipes together. And it's a fun way to really start getting into cooking.
I love it.
All right. So today we're going to do lamb.
What do we need to set this one for first?
We're going to do this to 130 degrees.
130 degrees. You want me to get this one going?
Please.
Okay.
So what I got over here is a rack of lamb. Now, when you buy the lamb from the grocery store, you're going to notice that there's a bunch of silver skin right here.
Okay.
Okay, I want to remove that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off.
A lot of people are thinking like, hey, I bought it, like the butcher already cleaned it for me. It's already done for me. I'm ready to go. He wouldn't have sold it if it wasn't ready, right?
Absolutely. Now, you can't ask him to do that. So what we're doing is we're separating the two pieces of meat. One is the longissimus dorsi, the other is the spinalis dorsi. So this one has lots of connective tissue in it. We don't really want to eat that.
You don't want that.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is a nice piece of silver skin right here. We're going to take this off.
And again, you're not trying to go into the actual meat itself. You're just taking that silver skin and letting the knife, a very sharp knife, do the work. Keeping a little tension, so that way then you've got a nice area to kind of pull.
Yep. And then what we're going to do is we're going to score it. And then we're going to take a spice blend we have over here.
Okay.
Now, this is kind of a Mediterranean / Moroccan, and it's a little blend that I came up with.
Oh, I absolutely love these smells already. Like I'm standing right over it going like, wow, this is just absolutely awesome.
Score the fat.
Now with the scoring there, how deep you going? What are you looking for?
We're just going right below the fat.
Just right below, okay.
The meat's down here, okay? So this is where the bones are. That's about as far as we want to go. It's going to help penetrate. It's going to help render the fat. Okay.
Very nice.
There we go.
Okay. So that part's done.
Yep. So over here.
But we still got these spices here.
Yes. So what we have here is we have some smoked paprika, coriander, cumin, garlic powder, sumac, which is a very acidic spice, black pepper, salt, oregano, cinnamon, and turmeric.
And we don't need to go to the Mediterranean to find these spices.
No, you can get all these at the grocery store.
These are all approachable grocery store stuff. Okay.
So we're going to put all these in a bowl, mix them up. We're not going to need all of this, so you can obviously save some for another use.
So you can put it into another jar, just take the label off, and then you can make your own little spice blend.
Okay, and then we're going to just season this up really well.
All right, and it's going dry. You're not putting any oil onto the surface. You're just going straight in
what
a
we're
dry.
Going to do is we are going to put oil in the bag.
Yep.
And that's going to help lubricate it.
But we do want this to stick to it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, and that's it. We're going to place this into a bag. Now, you notice how I have the bag flipped?
Yeah.
So that is so when I go to seal it, nothing's touching it, and I get a better seal.
Awesome.
So we're going to put a little bit of oil in there. Now, if you don't have one of these vacuum sealers, you can use the water displacement method.
What is the water displacement method?
So if I were to take this bag and place it into this water, what's going to happen is the air is going to start pushing out the top. So if you get a Ziploc bag, the air is coming out, you seal it off, you're good to go.
Okay. But you do have the vacuum sealer here.
I do have the vacuum sealer, and just going to suck that air out.
And what's cool about the vacuum sealers too is that a lot of people, they go out and buy things in bulk. Here they can find some great cost savings, vacuum seal the rest, put some great proteins away, so that way then it's ready to go. They saved a little bit of money in the pocketbook. I get it. I like that. So this is a very economical tool to have as well.
I use it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. So we're getting pretty close.
And how do you know that you're getting pretty close right there?
Well, you're watching the air being
You're seeing all this being just vacuumed right out. And you can see your oil. That's really kind of the tell to say, hey, now it's the air's coming out, that oil is moving, meaning that, hey, it's pulling with it. Okay.
Then we're going to hit the seal, and that's how easy it is. That thing's going, and that's going to cook it. We're going to drop that in, and then all we got to do is come back when we're ready to eat. This is going to take about 2 hours.
Okay.
For a piece of meat this big. If it's a smaller steak, it's going to take a little less time. But
fantastic. So that's going to go in there for... Love it. To try out sous vide cooking for yourself, or hey, maybe you've done it before and you just want Chef John's recipe. Grab the directions for everything you need to make this for your dinner at dinnerdeas.com. Find us fastest on your phone by pointing your camera at the TV, and if you zoom in on the black and white box we put down there in the corner of the screen, that's our QR code. Your phone will see it, and a link to us will appear. So this is happening. This is for real right now. This is starting to cook.
That's it. That's how simple it is. And you can't overcook it.
You can't overcook it. So we're going to take a break now, but not for the 2 hours that this does need to cook for it there. But join us again on the other side when Chef John shares some sides that you'll want next time you have lamb, however you're cooking it, ahead on Dinner Diaz. Welcome back to Dinner Diaz. Chef John Lister is with us again today from Ava in Tampa. He's making a sous vide rack of lamb with a yogurt feta sauce and sauteed chickpeas. And if you just tuned in, sous vide, you may have heard of it, and you may have been too afraid to ask what it is. But all it means is vacuum sealing food, cooking it in a controlled water bath, low temperature, long time cooking. That's it. Before the break, we prepped our rack of lamb, learning how to trim it just right, then seasoning with a blend of cumin, smoked paprika, coriander, garlic powder, turmeric, dried oregano, cinnamon, sumac, salt, and black pepper, then sealing it up with just a little bit of some olive oil and putting it in its water bath where it's been cooking slowly away at. Now because it's time to have some fun with some sides.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to do some chickpeas.
Okay.
But I'm kind of doing them since we've got such a nice little like Mediterranean, Moroccan flavor going. We're going to do the chickpeas. The chickpeas are kind of like a hummus.
It's like the base of our hummus, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to start with some garlic and olive oil.
Okay.
Oops, sorry. Oh. And I've got kale today.
Okay.
So you'll see on the recipe later it's also with spinach. If it was with spinach, I would put that at the very end.
Okay.
Because it wilts quickly.
Sure.
It takes a little bit longer to cook.
You really need to cook it down a little bit. Okay.
Let that sizzle for a second. All right. So what I want to do now is I want to go ahead and take the lamb out of the immersion circulator.
Okay.
What we're going to do is we're going to open it up and we're going to pat it dry. We want to get some of that moisture off before we put it in the pan to sear it.
Absolutely. So how long has this been inside the immersion cooker here?
This has been here for 2 hours.
2 hours.
So for something, like I said, something this size, 2 hours is perfect.
Okay.
You can go over, you know, like I said.
Yeah, that's the beauty of cooking with sous vide.
So like I said, this is fully cooked.
It's ready.
It's ready to go.
But it doesn't have the presentation, though.
That, and it doesn't have the crust.
Yeah.
You know, there's something about fat when you sear it up.
Oh, absolutely.
It's amazing. So what I'm gonna do is I want to pat this dry just a little bit. Because if I put all that moisture into a hot pan, we're gonna get a bunch of splatter.
Yeah, it's just gonna steam it, or else it's just getting like a nice sear here.
A little bit of oil in this cast iron pan. You can smell those spices. Right
Oh
now.
yeah, I smelled them when we were putting them in. I can still smell them.
Okay.
So we're going fat side down.
Side down, and depends on how hot the pan is, but just for a couple minutes. And we're gonna check it. We're gonna check it, and we're just looking for a little bit of color.
Yeah.
Let that color set in. And the great thing about this is once we're done with this, we're ready to go. There's no long resting because it's been cooking all this time at a controlled temperature. There's really no reason to let it rest for a long time.
I love it. To get Chef John's recipe for his sous vide rack of lamb plus the chickpea side, grab it over at dinnerdeas.com. Find us with your phone by scanning the QR code we have on the screen right now. Okay.
Okay, so while that's searing, we're gonna go ahead and finish these chickpeas up.
Perfect.
So we have the garlic and the kale. We'll put some roast red peppers in there.
Love it.
Okay. A little bit, oh yeah, sorry. We're gonna add just a pinch of tomato paste.
Nice. Okay.
Let that tomato paste slightly caramelize. As that kale is starting to wilt down. Like I said, these are all similar flavors with hummus.
Yeah.
And hummus with Mediterranean flavors usually can't.
It just goes absolutely beautifully together.
So if you can see that.
Oh yeah.
See how we scored it earlier? And now
Absolutely.
it's starting to really pop out.
Very
We'll
nice.
sear that side right there. Now, even though it takes a couple hours to cook, it really is pretty simple.
Yeah, it is. That's approachable too. It's something kind of fun and a little different.
Now, also too, if you want to cook this dish and you don't have an immersive circulator, you don't want to go out and buy one.
Yeah, what could you do there?
You can do the reverse sear method.
What is the reverse sear method? How does that work? So
Basically, believe it or not, it's actually the same method as what you're doing here.
okay.
You're cooking at a very low temperature. So what I would do is I would take this lamb, I would put a probe thermometer in there, put it into a 250-degree oven.
Okay.
Which is very low.
Yeah.
You're not getting intense heat, but it's slowly coming up. And it'll take for this, maybe an hour, maybe a little hour and a half, not even that long. And then you finish it the same way. Do everything else
nice
we've
sear
done.
part to it.
Everything else we've done the exact same way.
So the probe thermometer, bringing it up to that 130 temperature that you would have had you have had the sous vide, using a low temperature for your oven, and then just doing a nice sear to finish it. And so you still get those same results because at the end of the day, you want to be at that about 130 mark.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's me personally. That's how I like lamb. I think under that, sometimes if it can be a little too chewy.
Sure.
I like it when that fat has been rendered down and it's crispy and
it's ready to party.
Yeah,
it's ready to party.
So with these chickpeas, we're gonna let them keep going.
Okay.
I even like to maybe smash a couple of them to help out with the viscosity.
Okay.
Okay, and then that's pretty much it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take it off the heat. We're gonna add some good olive oil.
Okay.
I've added this olive oil.
It really is just to finish and to accentuate those flavors.
Exactly. If you want more salt, more pepper, if you want more olive oil, go for it.
Oh,
and this right here doesn't have to be piping hot when you serve it. Okay, I think it's actually kind of better warm. Not room temperature, but warm. You can taste the flavors a little bit more.
I love it. When we come back, the finishing touch for our rack of lamb, a sensational sauce from Chef John, coming right up ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs. We're learning the secrets of sous vide today with Chef John Lister from Ava in Tampa. He's making sous vide rack of lamb with sauteed chickpeas, and in a moment, we're gonna be making a yogurt feta sauce. But before the break, we cooked up garlic, kale, then we grabbed our rack of lamb from its water bath, gave it a quick sear in a cast iron pan, adding red peppers, tomato paste, then the chickpeas, a little more olive oil, and let it all come together, but it wasn't quite done just yet. So what are we adding next?
We're just gonna add some flat leaf parsley.
Okay.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's it. And this doesn't have to be piping hot. It's nice to have it nice and warm.
Nice and warm.
Yeah. If you want it hot, eat it hot.
Okay.
But like I said, this is kind of like the flavors of hummus.
Absolutely.
Doesn't have to be.
And healthy too.
Yes, very.
Very nice.
Healthy. Okay, so for this yogurt sauce, we grab a little thin container. We're going to add the plain Greek yogurt.
Okay.
A little bit of feta cheese.
Nice.
Some mint. That's all up to you how much you want.
Okay.
A little bit of sumac, which is the nice acidity.
Very nice.
And some cumin.
Okay. So we're seeing some of those spices come back again.
Yes, they complement each other. So then we're going to put a little bit of lemon. And we're going to put some olive oil. And we're going to put the juice.
Oh.
I always like to hold the lemon up, keep the seeds from...
All right, before you go, I got to go in for this smell
Yeah.
here. Whoa there, kiddo.
And there we go.
Oh,
So now what we're going to do is a little bit of olive oil.
nice.
You're going to see how easy this is. That's pretty much it. We're going to take a little hand blender
Okay.
and that's it. So you got mint, feta, everything goes with lamb.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The lemon just brightens it all up, brings
Yep.
it all together. You get those beautiful flavors coming through with that the sumac too. Come on now. Come on now.
So there you go.
Okay.
And it doesn't really need salt if you want to put salt. I think the feta cheese is salty enough.
It's perfect. It already has all of that salinity behind it.
Yep. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and plate up. So we're going to start off
That's
with
very good.
putting down some of our beans.
Okay.
That smells great.
It smells absolutely fantastic.
Okay. Push that over here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our lamb.
Now, what's the trick here?
Follow the bone down.
Follow the bone down.
Okay, you see how I did that? I'm coming right down. Mm-hmm. Right down. Sometimes if you...
Okay.
So now we can take our sauce.
You know, and because of the sous vide, it's beautifully evenly
It's
cooked.
evenly cooked. All you got to do is just add a little bit of crust. Look, just put a little bit of
Look at that.
sauce down.
Looks gorgeous. Okay.
Put our lamb right here.
Oh yeah. It just dances right on top. Oh,
You put
and
a little
about 3
bit of
bones
salt.
per portion.
3 or 4. I mean, I can
Yeah.
eat the whole rack myself.
I could too, but you know, we got to be fair.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
To grab the recipes for everything Chef John's been making today, get over to dinnerdeas.com. Just scan the QR code down there to find your way to us. This looks absolutely beautiful because when we come back, it's taste test time with Chef John and this beautiful sous vide lamb ahead on Dinner Dias. Welcome back to Dinner Dias. Chef John Lister is with us today. He's the executive chef for Ava in Tampa, and lucky for us, a regular visitor to the Dinner Dias kitchen. Today, he's been cooking the sous vide way. And if you just tuned in, watch the show again at dinnerdias.com. Not because it's complicated, because really, my friend, you made it a lot of fun to do, okay? We seasoned, then vacuum sealed a rack of lamb, then slow cooked it in water. That's it. That's it. That's sous vide. Okay, that's it. We then seared it and served it with sauteed chickpeas and a yogurt feta sauce. And by the looks of it, this now is a masterpiece, a work of art that looks absolutely stunning. That literally is just
Go for it.
dig right in. What's the way to go? Oh, you're going.
He's got a bone.
You know what? Following your lead on that one,
Yeah.
man, friend.
I love the fat cap. So you take a bite of here, take a bite up there.
And by scoring the fat cap, you have all those little pockets where that beautiful spice rub penetrates in, fills in those little crevices and those cavities that it just is that burst of flavor for it there, which is to die for.
All simple though.
Yeah.
Nothing elaborate. I mean, really all we did was sear the lamb after we sous vide it, and lightly saute the beans.
And you know, all the ingredients are super approachable. It's nothing that's too far to find. You're not traveling to Morocco to find these
And it's
slices.
also- these are all flavors that are familiar together.
They pair so beautifully. What do you think about all these flavors? What do you think about this dish?
I think it's bold, it's harmonious. All comes together perfectly.
You know, and what's really cool about this too is that because of using the sous vide, look at that. That is perfectly cooked.
Yep,
You're always going to have that with the sous vide.
always.
You're going to always hit that temperature and ride it flat.
Yep.
You know, it gets up to that 130, and instead of having like a grill where it's like, oh wait, I got to turn it, I got to flip it, I got to do something with it.
Then you got carryover cooking, so you take it off, you think it's perfect, and all of a sudden you go to cut it until it's overcooked.
Bingo. Here, hits that 130 and just stays at 130 throughout. And you have a beautiful area to work with. And because this is a really great protein to work with, and it's not that much of a surface area, here you're getting a perfect cook every single bite.
You also get so much flavor injected into it with the vacuum sealing of it.
It just takes all of it together and concentrates it. I can go on and on. This is absolutely beautiful. Thanks again to Chef John. Taste more of his inspired creations at Ava in Tampa. A link to them and the recipe for this dish are at dinnerdeas.com. I'm Jeff Philbin. Thanks for watching, and see you next time with more Dinner Dias.